Welcome back, my beautiful family and friends, lovers of imperial stories. I have missed you all, missed all the experiences we've had together. I have a promising story as I told you the last time so stick around. I need your support on YouTube now more than ever. Thank you one specially for sticking around to this very moment. Go ahead, pour yourself a glass of wine, sink into something soft, and silence your notifications, because what you're about to hear will leave your jaw on the floor. She thought she married a man with nothing until the will was read. Turns out the broke man she loved was heir to a $1 billion empire and had lied about everything. But what shattered her wasn't the secret. It was who helped him keep it. The first time someone told Lana she was too pretty to be taken seriously was 13. A teacher waved her off when she asked to join the science fair. "That's not really your thing, sweetie," he'd said with a smile that stung deeper than she could explain. By 27, she'd heard every variation of the same sentiment. Waitresses treated her with suspicion. Women whispered when she walked into rooms. Men stared too long or pretended not to stare at all. Her looks opened doors, but kept real connection locked away. Lana worked at a small florist shop in her quiet Georgia town. She wasn't rich. She wasn't trying to be famous. She just wanted something real, something rooted. Flowers made sense. They bloomed, they died, they bloomed again. Honest. "You're wasted in this town, girl," her friend Tasha said as they unpacked peonies from a crate. "You could have been in L.A. or married to a CEO by now." Lana shrugged. "Not looking for a CEO, just someone whose heart beats for real things." But secretly, she worried she'd never find someone who saw her. Not the face, the figure, the fantasy. Her, as in her soul. 30 miles outside of town, in a weathered lakeside cabin, Noah Green woke early, like always. The mornings were quiet, peaceful, painful. His leg ached from the metal rod that had been inserted after the accident. 9 surgeries later, and he still walked with a limp. He didn't mind the limp. It was the stairs that haunted him. Noah built furniture from reclaimed wood. His hands were skilled, though one finger bent at an odd angle now. Clients came by word of mouth mostly. He never advertised, didn't want the attention. He liked being invisible. He was used to it. Once he had been the son of Donovan Green, the billionaire industrialist whose name echoed through finance magazines and elite circles. But after the car crash that killed his mother and left him shattered, Donovan had gone cold. The man who once told Noah stories at bedtime disappeared behind layers of grief, business meetings, and a wall of quiet disappointment. Noah left the estate at 21, refused the family fortune, and never looked back. His disability felt like a burden Donovan never forgave him for. He couldn't stand to be pitied, not by his father, not by the world, definitely not by a woman. It was the first Saturday of spring when Lana first saw him. She had driven out to the countryside to find rustic chairs for her cousin's wedding. A client had recommended a local woodworker named Noah Green. His shop was tucked behind a grove of pine trees. A bell jingled as she entered the small showroom. Wooden tables, benches, chairs. Each piece looked like it had lived a life before being born again. Then he stepped out. Tall, bearded, reserved. His right leg moved slower than the left. His shirt sleeves were rolled up, revealing scarred forearms, strong hands, and eyes like wet slate. "Hi," she said, offering a polite smile. "I'm Lana. I called about the wedding tears." He nodded. "They're in the back. I'll show you." Noah didn't make eye contact at first.
His voice was calm but clipped, not rude, just guarded. Lana followed him, taking in the way he moved, each step deliberate, each silence louder than the last. "You built all of this yourself?" she asked. "Yeah." She ran her fingers along the smooth grain of a cedar table. "You're incredibly talented." He glanced at her then, briefly. "Thanks." It wasn't love at first sight. It was recognition. Two quiet souls meeting in a world that talked too loud. Later that evening, Noah sat on his porch drinking tea, staring at the stars. He couldn't get her out of his head. He had met beautiful women before. They either flinched at his limp or pretended it wasn't there. She hadn't done either. "Probably just being nice," he muttered. But something in her eyes lingered. Not pity, not curiosity. Something gentle. Lana, meanwhile, couldn't stop thinking about the man with the broken gait and beautiful hands. There was something there, something he didn't show the world. "Why did he seem so sad?" she whispered to herself, placing the kettle on the stove. 2 weeks later, she returned to pick up the chairs. They talked, just a little more this time. A shared laugh, a quiet smile. She asked about his tools. He explained with a passion that surprised her. "You ever think of teaching?" she asked. He shook his head. "People don't really want to learn from people like me." She looked at him dead in the eye. "You mean real people?" He didn't answer, but her words stayed with him for days. Their paths began to cross more. Lana found reasons to visit, a bench for her mother's garden, a custom vase stand for the shop. Each time, their conversations grew deeper. Still quiet, still cautious, but warmer. One day she brought coffee and muffins. "Just to thank you," she said, placing the paper bag on his workbench. "You don't have to." She cut him off, smiling. "I know. I want to." For the first time in years, Noah let a woman sit across from him without fear, without shame. He even smiled. That night, Lana stood by her apartment window watching the streetlights flicker. She pressed her fingers to the glass, lost in thought. "Why do I feel drawn to someone I'd barely know?" And across the lake, Noah looked out over the water, her name echoing softly in his mind. Why does she make me feel whole again?
It was mid-autumn when Lana invited Noah to the fall festival downtown. The idea of crowds made his chest tighten, but her voice on the phone was soft, encouraging. "You don't have to stay long," she said, "but the cider's amazing and I just want to spend time with you." He hesitated. She added quietly, "Unless you don't want to." Noah's silence stretched a second too long. "I'll go," he said, before he could talk himself out of it. At the festival, Lana held 2 cups of hot cider, scanning the crowd. He arrived late, wearing a dark flannel, the sleeves rolled up just enough to show his rough hands, his gait deliberate but strong. She smiled when she saw him. "Hey, you came." "Yeah, place is loud." "That's why I'm glad you're here." He noticed the way her eyes sparkled under the fairy lights. He wondered how someone like her hadn't been swept up by a doctor or a lawyer or a trust fund baby. "Why are you single?" he asked suddenly. She blinked, then laughed. "Wow, straight to it?" "Just curious." Her voice softened. "Because I want more than someone's money or charm. I want someone who feels like home." Their eyes locked for a long moment. Then she broke it with a playful smile. "And you, why are you single?" He looked down. "Because I never thought anyone could love a man who walks like he's broken." She reached out, her fingers brushing his. "You're not broken, Noah. You're real." His throat tightened. He didn't have a response, only the thundering of his heart. Later that night, he drove her home. Before she stepped out, she turned to him. "I know you don't believe you deserve much, Noah, but I see you. I feel you. And if that scares you, I get it." He stared straight ahead. She added softly, "I just need to know, am I crazy for thinking there's something between us?" He turned to her slowly, his jaw clenched. "You're not crazy. I just don't know how to be in something like this. You don't have to know. Just don't run." And for the first time in a long, long time, Noah nodded. "I won't." She leaned in, kissed his cheek. It wasn't fireworks or slow music. It was real, gentle, healing. The next few weeks unfolded like stolen time. Lana would come by the workshop and bring lunch. They'd sit under the pine trees, laughing, arguing about music, talking about fears. Noah told her about the pain after the accident, the screaming nights, the way he learned to walk again. "I hated my body. Still do sometimes." She reached out, tracing a scar on his wrist. "Your body tells a story, and it's still here, still holding you. That's strength, Noah, not shame." He wanted to kiss her then, so he did. It was tender, hesitant, and it wrecked him. Not everyone understood. Her cousin May pulled her aside one afternoon at the florist shop. "Lana, you're beautiful. You could be with anyone. Why are you tying yourself to someone who can't even stand straight?" Lana's stomach nodded. "He's more than his body, May. You're throwing your life away on someone who can't give you anything." "I'm not with him to be given anything. I'm with him because he sees me and I see him." But May's words lingered, just enough to plant doubt. Noah had a drawer in his house filled with unopened letters. They were from his father, monthly, always addressed, always sealed. One night, Lana found him sitting in front of that drawer, holding a letter. "Are those from your dad?" she asked gently. He didn't answer right away. "I haven't spoken to him in years. He wanted me to take over the company, be his legacy. I walked away." "Why?" "Because all he ever saw was the broken son who ruined his perfect world." Lana reached for his hand. "You're not ruined." Noah swallowed hard. "You say that now." "Is that what scares you? That I'll change my mind if I knew more?" His silence was answer enough. She knelt in front of him. "Noah, I didn't fall for your body or your past or your damn bank account. I fell for your heart. So whatever you're hiding, I can handle it. But I need you to trust me." He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time considered letting her in all the way. "Would you be able to love someone if they kept part of their identity hidden, not out of deceit, but out of fear? I want to know your opinion in the comment section." Noah started pulling back. It began with missed calls, shorter replies, rescheduling plans. Lana noticed it. She felt it in the way his hugs lingered less, the way his eyes didn't meet hers easily. Something had shifted. At the workshop, she caught him sanding a bench with unusual force. "You okay?" she asked, careful. "Fine," he muttered. She waited, then softly said, "You've been distant." He exhaled, jaw clenched. "I'm just busy. Orders piling up." Lana studied him. "Noah, you don't have to do this, whatever this is." His eyes flicked up. "Do what?" "Push me away before I push you." The word hit him like a slap, because deep down, that's exactly what he was doing. That night, Noah sat alone, turning an unopened letter from his father in his hands.
He told himself she was different, that maybe, just maybe, she could love him for who he was.
But what if that changed? What if the past came crashing into the life they were building? He remembered the accident, the way his father stood at the hospital bed, not with comfort, but with restrained disappointment. "You were supposed to be more," his father had whispered when he thought Noah was unconscious. Noah had been 18. Now he was 30, still hearing those words. Meanwhile, Lana's friend Tasha sat across from her at the cafe, brow furrowed. "Girl, I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but you're glowing. You could be with someone who can match your energy." Lana shook her head. "You don't know him. No, you don't know what you're sacrificing. He doesn't bring you security, no future, no. He brings me peace," Lana snapped. "He brings me honesty." Tasha meaned back, "Just don't lose yourself trying to fix someone who won't even let you in." That night, Lana cried in the shower, not because she doubted her feelings, but because she was afraid Tasha might be right. They were in Noah's kitchen a few days later. Lana was chopping vegetables. He was silent at the table. "I ran into May again," she said, casually. "She asked if we were serious." Noah didn't respond. "I said yes." Still nothing. She put the knife down. "Noah, do you think we're serious?" His voice was flat. "Maybe we're just fooling ourselves." She froze. "What?" "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to." There was silence, thick, cruel. Then Lana whispered, "Tell me the truth, Noah. Are you scared of losing me? Or are you just waiting for a reason to let me go?" He stared at her, aching, furious at himself. "I don't know." She grabbed her purse. "Then maybe you should figure it out before I decide for you." She walked out. Noah sat on the porch long after she left, clutching the unopened letter again. He wanted to call her, to say something, anything. But the words felt stuck behind years of silence, years of shame. And Lana, she sat on her bed, phone in hand, waiting for a message that didn't come. Have you ever put someone away out of fear, even when you knew you loved them? Why do we sabotage what we want the most? The sky broke open 3 days after their argument. Rain poured in thick sheets as Lana drove back from delivering a last-minute bouquet. She hadn't seen Noah since that night, and despite her pride, her heart missed him like air. She was rounding a bend near the lake when she saw flashing hazard lights, a pickup truck stuck in the mud near the shoulder. Her stomach turned when she saw the familiar figure trying to push it free, one leg dragging slightly behind the other. "Noah!" She pulled over without thinking. Noah was soaked. His jacket clung to his frame, hair dripping, arms straining uselessly against the truck. "You'll ruin your back," Lana shouted over the storm as she stepped out with an umbrella. He turned, startled. "What are you—" "Move," she said firmly, opening the passenger door of her car. "You're coming with me." "No, I've got it." "Noah, get in the car." For once, he didn't argue. Inside Lana's small apartment, he stood in her hallway dripping on the mat, his clothes clinging to him. "I'll grab a towel," she said. He watched her disappear, heart flooding. Why does she still feel like home? She returned with the towel and handed it to him. "Thanks. You're lucky I came when I did," she said quietly, stepping into the kitchen. "That road floods fast." He followed, drying his arms. "You didn't have to stop." "I know," she replied, back still turned. "But I couldn't not." The silence between them was heavy, not hostile, just full. They sat at her small table, eating leftover lasagna. Neither said much. Then Noah looked up. "I didn't mean what I said. That night." "Which part?" He paused. "All of it." Now she did. "Then why say it?"
Because it's easier to sabotage something than to believe I deserve it. Her eyes softened. Do you want to be with me, Noah? Yes, he said, voice hoarse. More than I've wanted anything in my life. Then stop testing me like I'm going to fail you. He swallowed hard. You're the only one who hasn't. They ended up on the couch, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her. The storm outside became a soft backdrop, like the universe was giving them a moment. I'm sorry, he whispered, after a long silence. For what? For hiding. For hurting you. Lana reached for his hand, lacing their fingers together. I wasn't looking for perfection, Noah. I was looking for honesty, even if it's messy.
He tilted his head down until their foreheads touched. They didn't kiss. They didn't need to. It was deeper than that. You're the only person who hasn't. It was 2 weeks after the storm when Lana found it. She'd stayed the night at Noah's cabin again. Not romantically, not yet, but emotionally, they were closer than ever. Like two puzzle pieces that finally made sense. He had gone out for a supply run. She was tidying up the living room when a small drawer stuck in the coffee table caught her eye. She tugged gently. It opened. Inside was a thick, sealed envelope, yellowed at the edges, addressed in bold black ink. Noah Elijah Green. To be opened when you're ready. Dad. Lana's breath caught. She didn't read it, didn't open it, but she sat on the couch staring at it until he returned. Noah paused when he saw her holding the letter. His entire body tensed. You weren't supposed to see that, he said, voice tight. I didn't read it, but Noah, who is your dad? He looked away. Lana stood. Please don't lie to me. Not now. Noah sank into the armchair, silent for a long time. Finally, Donovan Green. The name hit her like cold water. The Donovan Green? The tech billionaire? He nodded once. My father. Biologically, not emotionally. Lana sat down slowly. So, I walked away from it all. The money, the legacy, the expectations. Why? He met her eyes. Because I was a disappointment. After the accident, he saw me as weak, damaged goods, not worthy of the Green Empire. Lana whispered, But you're his son. He scoffed. Not the kind of son he wanted. They sat in silence. Rain tapped lightly against the window pane. Then Noah spoke, quieter than before. My mother died in that crash. We were coming back from one of my art exhibitions in college. She always believed in me, my creativity, my hands. Dad thought it was a waste, wanted me to study business. She listened, still and soft. The tire blew out. I lost control. She didn't make it. He clenched his fists. Dad never said it, but he blamed me. I was barely out of surgery when he started making plans to take my name off future assets. Called me fragile, unfit, a liability. Lana moved closer. So you left. Walked out with nothing but my hands and my pain. A tear escaped Lana's eye. Noah, I don't care about the money, but this part of your life, this hurt, you've carried it alone for too long. He looked at her, something breaking inside. I didn't want you to see me through his eyes. I never did. Later that night, as they lay in the warmth of the cabin, she asked the question again, the one that lingered like fog. Why didn't you tell me?
His arm was draped around her waist. His voice was low. "Because I thought if you knew who I really was, it would change the way you looked at me, like everyone else." She turned toward him, touched his cheek. "You know the craziest part?" "What?" "I fell in love with the men in work boots, not the air in hiding." Noah swallowed hard. "Are you sure you want this life with me?" She smiled gently. "I want your name whispered in the dark. I want your scars. I want you, whether you live in a cabin or a castle." The next morning, a black car pulled into the gravel drive. Noah stepped onto the porch, shielding his eyes from the sun. A tall man in a navy coat stepped out, gray hair, commanding presence, unmistakable. Donovan Green. "Noah?" Noah's posture stiffened. "What do you want?" Donovan looked past him and spotted Lana through the screen door. "Can we talk privately?" Noah didn't move. "She stays." Donovan exhaled. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here because I heard you're getting serious with someone, and before you make a mistake—" Noah's voice snapped like thunder. "A mistake?" "I mean financially, Noah. You don't have a prenup, no protections. She could take everything. She doesn't even know what I'm worth." Donovan raised a brow. "Does she know I offered you the company again last year and you turned it down?" Noah's face flushed. Lana stepped out onto the porch. "She's not after your money," Noah said, eyes blazing. "She's the only reason I even thought about speaking to you again." Donovan studied Lana. "You must be special. He never let anyone near his scars before." "I don't want his fortune. I just want his heart," she said softly. Donovan was silent for a beat. Then, "You're braver than I expected." And he left. That night, Noah held her hand in bed, as if anchoring himself. "I'm sorry about him."
She shook her head. "Don't be. I'm proud of you. I haven't opened a single one of his letters. Maybe it's time you did." He hesitated. "Why?" "Because healing doesn't mean going back to him. It means letting go of what he left behind." Noah looked at her, then up the drawer, and for the first time in 12 years, he opened a letter. "Dear Noah, I don't know how to undo what I said, or the silence I gave you, but I see now that you're stronger than I ever was. You chose truth over comfort. I hope someday you forgive me." Tears slipped down Noah's cheek. Lana kissed them away. Sunlight streamed through the wide kitchen windows of Noah's lakeside cabin, casting golden streaks across the wooden floor. A soft hum played from Lana's phone, a bluesy romantic song she had played 3 times in a row now. She stood in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, flour on her cheek, flipping pancakes with the wrong kind of confidence. Noah walked in, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, and leaned against the doorway with a smirk. "I think that was burning." "I think it's caramelizing," she said, not turning around. "No, pretty sure it's dying a slow, syrupless death." She turned with narrowed eyes. "I didn't know Master Chef lived here." "I carve things. I don't cook them." He walked closer, peering into the pan. "Did you use sugar?" "I used the white stuff in the mason jar." He opened the jar, dipped a finger in, tasted, and winced. "That's salt." Lana's eyes went wide. No, it's not. Oh, my God." He laughed, full and real, a deep rumble in his chest. She looked like she wanted to melt into the kitchen floor. "Don't say a word," she muttered, pressing the spatula into his chest. "I won't," he said, still chuckling, "but only because you're wearing my favorite shirt and somehow managing to look better in it than I ever did." That caught her off guard. Her expression softened. "You like me in your shirt? I like you in my life." Lana paused, biting her lip. They stood there, inches apart, surrounded by the smell of burnt batter and warm light. For once, there was no weight pressing on them, just joy. After breakfast, which they replaced with toast and fruit, they took a walk down to the lake. The water was calm, reflecting the sky like a mirror. Noah held a notebook in one hand. "What's that?" Lana asked, bumping her shoulder into his as they walked. "My old goals list. I used to write in it when I thought my life had direction. And now? I'm rewriting the map." They reached a wooden bench, one Noah had built himself, and sat, watching the soft ripples of the water. Lana opened the notebook. On the first page, "Things to do before I forget who I am." She blinked, touched by the vulnerability in that sentence alone. "Can I read a few?" He hesitated, then nodded. She flipped through the pages, reading softly. "Teach a woodworking class to local kids. Visit Iceland and stand beneath the northern lights. Fall in love without fear. Forgive my father even if he never apologizes. Tell someone the whole story of the crash." She looked up. "You've done that one." He gave a soft smile. "Yeah, it's still kind of raw." "Raw means real." She looked down at the notebook again. "These aren't goals. They're proof you never gave up on yourself." Noah turned his head to the lake. "I gave up a few times." "But you kept writing," she said. "That's what matters." Later that afternoon, they stopped by the town's youth center, a modest brick building with peeling paint but big energy. Kids played soccer out front. Inside, volunteers bustled about with arts and crafts. "Used to tutor here," Lana said. "Kids loved carving soap bars with plastic knives. It was a mess." Noah chuckled. "That's adorable." "You should teach them. Woodworking, I mean. Real tools, real projects." He hesitated. "They'd laugh." "No, they'd worship you." He glanced at a group of boys struggling to hammer cardboard together. "He needs someone like you," she said. "Someone who doesn't look or act like a movie hero, but actually is one." "Don't say that," he murmured. "He knows you're proud." He took his hand. "You spent your life building things with broken parts. That's the definition of a hero." He said that. Later that evening, back at the cabin, she lit candles and put on an old jazz playlist. The living room smelled of cedar and lavender. Noah came out of the shower wearing a plain t-shirt and joggers, surprised to find her swaying gently to the music, barefoot on the wooden floor. "Dance with me," she said, holding out a hand. He hesitated. "You know, I don't care if you limp. I care that you move." He stepped into her arms. They danced slowly, not perfectly, but intimately. His hand on her waist, her head on his shoulder. The fire flickered beside them. "Are you scared?" he asked. "Scared?" "Terrified." "Of what?" "Losing this before I get to live in it." "You're already living in it, Noah." "That I want this for a long, long time." Later, lying beside each other on the couch, the conversation turned quiet, honest. He took her hand and placed it on his side, guiding her fingers across the jagged scar along his ribs. This one almost ended everything. She touched it carefully, reverently. "Sometimes I hate what I see in the mirror." "Then you're not looking hard enough," she replied.
You sound like a Hallmark movie. No, I sound like someone who loves you.
You really do, don't you? I really, really do. Noah reached for a small carved box on the side table and handed it to her. Her fingers brushed over the lid before she opened it. Inside, nestled in a bed of dried rose petals, was a wooden ring. Simple. Handmade. The oak was warm, imperfect, beautiful. I made this for you, he said. I'm not proposing, not yet, but I wanted you to have it. She picked it up gently. It's beautiful. Like you. She looked up, teary-eyed. Noah, I don't have much. I've turned down all my inheritance. I still don't talk to my father. I don't even know what a future looks like, Lana. She held the ring to her chest. I don't care about all that. I care about you. Are you sure? Let me make it perfectly clear. She slid the ring onto her finger. I don't need a diamond. I need this. Something you made. Something that feels like us. And then she kissed him. Soft, slow, sure. They lay on the couch later, curled into each other like they belonged there. Do you ever want kids? She asked softly. He thought for a moment. I didn't used to. Thought I wouldn't be a good dad. And now? He smiled faintly. Now I think I might want a few, if they end up like you. She laughed. They'll end up stubborn like you, and we both know it. Well, they'll at least be able to make birdhouses. Only if you teach them. Deal. That night, they fell asleep in each other's arms, not from exhaustion, but from emotional fullness. No masks, no hiding. Just two people who had finally found in each other the thing the world had told them didn't exist. Real, rooted, unconditional love. I don't want your fortune. I want your heart. Her words rang even louder in Noah's mind. The door to Lana's flower shop chimed with its familiar jingle. She didn't look up at first. Her hands were deep in arranging a bouquet of soft, lush roses and baby's breath. She smiled to herself, humming the soft tune. It was the first day she felt normal again, after a whirlwind of change, leaving work to spend more time with Noah, returning to the city with a different heart, and finally, feeling like she was building a real life with someone who saw her. But when she did glance up, her fingers paused. The woman who stepped in looked like she didn't belong. Sharp black heels, a navy suit, sleek ponytail, cold precision in her posture. The kind of woman who had been groomed in boardrooms, not boutiques. Can I help you? Lana asked, brushing a curl from her face. The woman smiled, but not warmly. You're Lana James, correct? Lana straightened. Yes. The woman extended a business card. Pamela Hart, legal counsel for Green Holdings. Lana's stomach tightened. Before she could respond, Pamela placed a sealed manila folder on the counter. Mr. Donovan Green asked me to deliver this. It's a courtesy, a preliminary NDA and cohabitation protection agreement, should your relationship with Mr. Noah Green continue to evolve. Lana blinked. I'm sorry? Pamela tilted her head as if surprised Lana was surprised. It's standard. Confidentiality, asset protection. No offense, of course. Lana's chest went cold. This is a joke, right? Not at all. Mr. Green is fond of his son, but understandably cautious. Lana's voice dropped. Did no one know about this? I'm not authorized to answer that, but I strongly advise legal counsel before signing. Lana stared at the folder, then at the door as it closed behind her. A breeze rushed in behind her exit, scattering rose petals across the floor. She didn't move. The sun was low in the sky when Lana arrived at Noah's cabin, her car kicking up gravel as it rolled to a stop. The folder sat on the passenger seat like a ghost. Noah was on the porch, sat in the leg of a handmade chair. He looked up, smiling faintly. until he saw her face. "Hey, you knew she was coming." Lana cut in. "Who?" "Panel to Hart, your father's lawyer." Noah blinked. His face shifted from confusion to something darker. "Wait, she came to the shop. She brought a folder. NDA, a legal agreement to protect your father's legacy from me." His eyes widened. "Lana, I swear, I didn't know." "But you didn't stop it." "I haven't spoken to him since the last time he came here." "This says everything. You said you weren't hiding anything anymore." "I'm not." "But you're still letting him shape the way we live." "I don't control him." "No, but you didn't defend me either. You let this happen. You let him assume I'm some gold digger without standing up for me." His voice broke. "I didn't know how." "Exactly. Because you still don't see me as someone worth fighting for." "That's not true." "Then why does this feel like I'm still standing outside your life, waiting for permission to come in?" The silence was thunderous.
Noah looked down, and then he said it. The worst thing he could have said. "I don't know if you do." Lana inhaled like she'd been struck. Her hand dropped the folder. She didn't cry. Not yet. She just whispered, "Then maybe I need to stop fighting for a place you're not sure exists." And she walked away. Noah didn't move for several minutes. His heart beat out of rhythm, his hands clenched into fists. The air around him pulsed with something thick, like shame, like self-loathing. He stumbled into the workshop and found the birdhouse, the one he'd been carving for her. He had etched her initials on the base the night before. It was almost done, just needed polish, a ribbon. He picked it up, held it, and then, crack! He hurled it against the wall. It shattered into 3 clean pieces and a dozen splinters. Noah stood there, panting, staring at the wreckage, and said the words aloud that had haunted him for years. "I ruin everything I touch." Lana sat on the edge of her bed, the NDA folder still unopened beside her. Tasha sat across from her, barefoot, no makeup for once, real. "You're quiet," Tasha said. I shook her head. "If I talk, I'll cry, and if I cry, I might not stop." "Then cry." But she didn't. She looked down at the ring on her finger instead. "It's just wood," she murmured. "No," Tasha said, "that's your ring." "I thought it meant something," she whispered. "I thought I was finally seen, not for my face, not for what people think I want, but for who I am." Tasha moved closer. "I've been tough on you, on him too, but I see it now." Lana looked up, blinking back tears. "You love him?" Lana nodded. "So much, it hurts." "Then why are you sitting here?" "Because I'm tired of begging to be enough for someone." Tasha reached for her hand. "He's broken, Lana, not because of you, but maybe you are the only thing that ever made him believe he could heal." Lana was quiet. Then she said softly, "So why didn't he fight for me?" Noah sat in his workshop, holding the broken base of the birdhouse, the carved initials still visible. L.J. He remembered sitting in a hospital room, age 18, his leg shattered in 3 places, his father standing at the foot of the bed saying, "You were supposed to be more than this." He hadn't realized until now how loud that voice still was, how deeply it shaped what he thought he deserved, how terrified he still was to believe in something or someone good. Lana stared at her phone. It was midnight. Noah's name sat on the screen, waiting for her to call, but she didn't. She turned the phone face down and lay back. She'd chosen him. He
hadn't chosen her back. Days passed. Noah didn't leave the cabin. Lana didn't open the shop. They lived in separate silences, both thinking the other had given up. Noah sanded until his hands blistered. Lana watered her roses 3 times a day just to feel something bloom. One night, Lana stood in front of the mirror. She took off the ring, held it in her palm. She whispered, "You're not just wood. You're the first time someone tried to love me for real." A tear fell. She put the ring back on. Then she picked up the folder and finally opened it. Noah stood on the porch looking out at the lake, fog rising from the water like ghosts. Lana sat at her window, phone in hand, thumb hovering over Noah's name. Neither moved, neither spoke. And in that stretch of silence, a love that had once whispered promises now asked a single question. Will you still choose me, even now? The following morning, the sun rose on 2 different worlds, both aching in silence. At the cabin, Noah sat at the edge of his bed staring at his hands. His knuckles were raw from hitting the workbench the night before. The wood splinters had cut skin, but he hadn't felt the pain. Not really. He was replaying it. Her voice, her face, the devastation in her eyes when he said, "I don't know if you do." He hadn't meant it. He'd said it from fear, a reflex, a wound protecting itself. But the damage was done. Across town, Lana poured coffee into a mug and didn't drink it. She'd barely slept. Her body ached from tension, her heart of confusion. She kept looking at the folder, that damned manila folder, still unopened. She wasn't angry anymore. She was exhausted. From defending their love, from proving she wasn't after money, from trying to hold them both together. Tasha walked into Lana's apartment around noon, unannounced for the first time ever. She held a brown paper bag and 2 croissants. "You haven't eaten, I know, because you texted me a smiley face at 3 a.m. Lana offered a half-hearted smile. Tasha sat. "I was wrong, by the way, about him, about you." Lana blinked. "I saw the way you 2 looked at each other. That isn't fake, and anyone who thinks you're with him for money is blind." Lana looked down at the ring on her finger. "I think he's scared," Tasha added, "but I also think he's never fought for anyone before." Lana nodded slowly. "Yeah, but love isn't just something you feel. It's something you choose." "Then what are you going to choose?" That afternoon, Noah drove, not aimlessly, but with intent. It had been 12 years since he last stepped through the gates of his father's estate. 12 years since the night of the crash, when grief turned to shame and love turned to silence. He pulled into the long circular driveway. The groundskeeper still kept the roses trimmed. The same stone lion still stood at the front door. He rang the bell. Pamela Hart opened it, startled to see him. "Mr. Green, I need to see my father." Donovan was in the study, sipping scotch in front of the fireplace when Noah entered. "I was wondering when you'd show up," the old man said, not looking at him. You had no right," Noah said evenly, "sending a lawyer to intimidate Lana. She didn't deserve that." Donovan turned, his expression unreadable. "I was protecting my legacy." "She is my legacy." There was a long pause. Donovan set down his glass. "Do you love her?" "With everything I am." "Then why haven't you brought her here?" "Because this place is built on pride. I'm trying to build something out of honesty." Donovan stared at his son for a long time. Then he said something Noah didn't expect. "She reminds me of your mother." Noah's throat tightened. She was always softer than me. Better. She would have liked Lana. Noah swallowed hard. Then maybe stop trying to make her run. Donovan nodded slowly. The company's yours if you want it. No contract, no conditions. I don't, Noah said, but thank you. He left without another word. That night, Lana sat by her window, writing in the old journal she hadn't touched in months. I've spent most of my life afraid to trust love. When you're praised for your looks, it's hard to believe people see your soul. But he saw it from day one, and I saw his. I still do. So the question isn't whether love is worth fighting for. It's whether I'm willing to risk more pain for the chance at something real. She closed the journal, looked at her reflection, then picked up her keys. Noah sat in his workshop, alone again. He was carving, nothing in particular, just moving wood beneath his hands to keep from feeling too much. He didn't hear the door open at first. Looks like you haven't stopped building things, Lana said softly from a threshold. He froze, turned slowly. She was standing there, hair slightly windblown, eyes tired but fierce. I came back because I wanted you to choose. I do choose you, Noah said, stepping forward. Every day I just was too broken to say it. Noah, I let fear speak for me. That day you left, I wanted to run after you, but I told myself you'd be better off, that I'd only bring you pain. And now I know the pain is not being with you, not building this life with you. He walked to the drawer and pulled something out. It was the birdhouse, the one he had thrown. He had glued it back together, carefully, with scars still showing. I was going to give you this, he said, before everything fell apart. She reached for it. It's cracked, she whispered. So am I. She looked up at him. But you're still standing. He nodded. So am I. He pulled the carved box from his coat pocket again, the same one from the lake. Only this time the ring inside had been polished. Still wooden, still imperfect, but shining. I don't need anything else, he said. Just you, just us. Lana's lips trembled. You really think we can make it work? I don't just think it, I believe it. He knelt, not on one knee because my leg wouldn't allow it, but in the way that mattered. Lana James, will you marry me? Not for what we have, but for what we're going to build. She didn't speak. She just kissed him and whispered, yes. They sat in the workshop floor, wrapped in each other's arms, watching the sun sink behind the trees. He touched the ring on her hand. She touched the scar on his jaw. Everything about them was still unfinished, still flawed. But that was the point. They weren't waiting to be perfect to be in love. They were choosing each other, messy, real, and true. They sat in silence. No promises of forever, no fairy tale illusions, just two souls who had stopped running. And in that stillness, they finally found the beginning. The morning mist rolled over the lake like a soft memory. Everything was quieter now, not from stillness, but peace. Inside the small, once humble cabin, life had reshaped itself. There were new sounds, the clatter of small feet on wood floors, the gentle lull of a music box Noah had carved by hand, and the occasional baby wail, laughter and the sigh of contentment from two people who'd stopped searching and started simply living. Noah stood barefoot in the kitchen, flipping pancakes. Yes, real ones this time. A splash of cinnamon, a hint of vanilla, just like Lana liked them. He had practiced for months to get it right. For her. Behind him, Lana stood in the doorway, watching him with that same softness she had when they met, only now layered with familiarity, quiet gratitude, and love that had roots. She was visibly pregnant, radiant in a cotton dress, her belly round and perfect. In her hands she held a steaming mug of tea. "Still burning the edges?" she teased. "I call it rustic browning," Noah said, grinning. She walked over, placed a kiss on his cheek. "You wound me. You love it." He smiled. "I love you." And in that kitchen, with no grand declarations or diamonds, that simple truth felt like the greatest gift they had ever exchanged.
The shed behind the youth center had become something more than just a workshop. It was a sanctuary. On Saturday mornings, kids gathered early, some still in pajamas. Some came from broken homes, others from shelters. But in that space, they weren't broken. They were builders. Noah stood at the front of the room, his sleeves rolled up, guiding a young boy named Marcus, shy, quiet, one hand smaller than the other, through the steps of carving a toy boot. "You don't have to press hard," Noah said. "Let the blade do the work." Marcus nodded slowly, watching Noah's scarred hands move with purpose and ease. "You know I can't do this as fast as the others," the boy muttered. "You don't have to. Fast doesn't mean better. It just means different." The boy looked at him, a question behind his eyes. "Did you ever mess up when you were my age?" Noah smiled. "I used to mess up every day. Still do. It's part of learning." Marcus tilted his head. "But you're grown now." Noah bent out beside him. "Some wounds don't go away, but you learn how to live around them, sometimes even because of them." Marcus looked down at the piece of wood. "I want to make something she can play with," he whispered. "Your sister?" The boy nodded. "Then let's make it special." And they did. Later that day, Noah stood back and watched the room fill with laughter, wood shavings, and hope. He didn't just see children. He saw versions of himself, unafraid, unashamed. Lana had been right. This was redemption. The flower shop had blossomed into more than just a small-town boutique. Lana had turned it into a space for memory and meaning. Each bouquet came with a handwritten card describing what the flowers meant: joy, forgiveness, strength, new beginnings. She was arranging a hope bouquet when the doorbell chimed, an unusual sound this late in the day. Pamela Hart walked in first, then, slowly, carefully, Donovan Green. Lana froze. "I'm not here to start anything," Donovan said softly. She watched him. Older now, but gentler, less harm her. "I came to buy a bouquet," he added. Lana's brow rose. "For what occasion?" "For my granddaughter." She blinked. Donovan moved closer, his eyes softer than she remembered. "I know I don't deserve this visit, or a place in your lives, but I also know I don't want to make the same mistake twice." He gestured toward the peonies. "Tell me what those mean." Lana hesitated, then whispered, "Healing." He nodded. "Perfect." They were married by the lake where everything began. No fanfare, no headlines, just wildflowers, handmade benches, lanterns floating in the water. Lana walked down the makeshift aisle barefoot, her dress brushing the grass, the wooden ring Noah had carved gleaming faintly on her hand.
Tasha held a bouquet. Marcus from the workshop walked ahead with a tiny sign that read, "Here comes the girl who never gave up." Noah's hands trembled slightly as Lana reached him. The officiant asked, "Do you, Noah Green, take this woman?" He gently cut her off. "I've already taken her, in the quiet moments, in the long nights, in the storms, and in the mornings when she sings off key while brushing her teeth." Lana laughed, wiping her eyes. He looked at her, raw, hoping. "You are the answer I didn't think I deserved, the peace I thought I'd never earned. You brought life into this broken frame, and I vow to spend every breath proving how deeply I see you." Lana stepped forward. "You made me feel seen, Noah. Not for my body, not for the mask I wore, but for the soul underneath. You taught me that love isn't loud. It's the whisper that says, 'I'm still here.' And I vow to always be here."
They exchanged rings, worn, wooden, imperfect, and kissed. The lake shimmered in the background, and the trees whispered blessings. Lana gripped his hand tighter than ever. "Breathe," he said, eyes wide. "You're crushing my fingers. I am birthing a human, Noah." "Yes, ma'am." A nurse laughed nearby. Hours passed. Noah paced, then sat, then stood again, then nearly fainted. Finally, a cry split the air. Noah held his breath. "It's a girl," the nurse said, smiling. And in that moment, the world stopped. Lana lay back exhausted, smiling through tears. Noah stared at the tiny, wriggling bundle in her arms. Full head of hair, tiny fists, lungs like a lion. "Her name?" the nurse asked. Lana looked at Noah. He answered without hesitation, "Eden." As in paradise. As in everything they never thought they'd find, but did. Weeks later, a package arrived at the cabin. It was from Pamela. Inside was a letter from Donovan. "I missed years. I wasted decades. But thank you for letting me hold Eden. Thank you for not making me the villain forever. I see now. Strength doesn't look like money. It looks like two people standing beside each other when everything around them says not to. You are the legacy your mother hoped for, and I am proud. Dad." Noah folded the letter slowly, chest rising and falling. He didn't cry. He just turned to Lana, kissed the top of Eden's head, and whispered, "I'm exactly where I'm meant to be." Sunday lunch became a tradition. Tasha, Marcus, kids from the workshop, some neighbors, and now Pamela, who had slowly gone from legal rep to auntie in Eden's life. Lana brought out a pie. Noah set down hand-carved wooden plates. Eden sat in his lap, gnawing on a spoon. The table buzzed with conversation, jokes, memories. But at the center of it all were two people who once believed love was for everyone else. And now they were the ones everyone else looked to. Years later, Noah sat by the lake, now silver-haired, whittling a small wooden swan. Eden, now 9, sat beside him. "Why swans?" she asked. "Because they mate for life." "Like you and Mommy?" "Exactly." She held the swan up to the light. "Do you think I'll find someone like that?" "I hope you find someone better."
Better than Mommy? Iden asked, eyes wide. Noah laughed. Not better than her, better than I was. Someone who knows what they have before they almost lose it. Eden leaned against his shoulder. Lana called from the porch, "Dinner's ready." As they stood, Noah looked back at the lake, and he saw it, the version of himself who had once sat alone in silence, believing he'd never be enough. That version was gone now. He turned back, hand in Eden's, and walked toward the light. Because when love is chosen again and again, even the most broken stories can end in beauty.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.